What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? What is this? What is this? What is this? Slime Son.
So Slime Son is a teeth-gritting, nightmare difficulty platformer like Super Meat Boy, The End Is Nigh, or Celeste, and its most prominent characteristic is its art style with like a very, very zoomed out view, this lime green with red accents and like a dark blue background. It's very striking, but it gets old quickly and it is harsh on your eyes. Let me tell you, if you're sitting at like your computer desk playing this from a foot away, your eyes are gonna be scorching and you're gonna have a raging headache from just the sheer amount of light bouncing back into your retinas. I really wish that the game changed the color palette throughout the different levels, but it doesn't. There are like some filters you can unlock as collectibles throughout the game. You know, they stay the same too unless you manually change them. I think if the game cycled through the different filters or like each stage had a different color theme, it would have really helped with the eye strain on this experience. The music in this game, and you can't hear it like I said because I don't want to get copyright claimed on this, but the music's unbelievably good. It's all chip tunes and it's super whimsical and zany and it suits the overall aesthetic of this perfectly. Take my word for it, you would love the music. It hangs in there with some of the best like 8-bit games you've ever heard. Now the story of this, and I guess there is a story, is that Slime Son, who's the main character, and his family were, I guess, eaten by a giant worm, and you have to work your way back out from like its butthole all the way to its mouth. And along the way, you meet like this zany cast of characters that have also been swallowed in the past. They've taken up residence in the guts of this giant worm. But this game doesn't survive on its aesthetics or its art style or its music. Games like this rely on their gameplay. And let me tell you something. I compared Slime Son to a bunch of great games before, right? Super Meat Boy, Celeste. Compared to those games, as far as I know, now I haven't played Celeste, but I played a ton of Super Meat Boy. Slime Son just has a ton of freaking mechanics. And it has a constant timer that runs the whole time. There's a time limit on every level, and if you don't go fast enough, this lava comes up and just eradicates you. There's a freaking squirrely dash that you can do. And there's a slow-mo button that you use, and it also causes certain objects to phase in or phase out. So it's like a polarity system. So like when you're going slow, you can only jump on objects that are going green. Or you let off the slow-mo, the objects that are green turn to red, and then they'll kill you. And you're trying to manage that all the time because it's tied to the slow-mo button. Like your momentum changes, so it's like the game's speeding up and slowing down while you're also trying to keep track of these switches flipping left and right. It's just a lot. Like I said, there's switches, there's freaking keys, there's enemies that chase you, there are springboards that sometimes will work if you're going in slow-mo and sometimes they won't, and there's Donkey Kong style barrels, and there's a whole heap of this crap to keep up with. And it's not just about like running and jumping and being precise. The times in the game where you do that and you just run and jump and you're precise landing on platforms, it plays great, but all this other puzzle crap that's built on top of it is just super overwhelming. And the game is at it, like I said, it's most fun when it keeps it simple. And the physical mechanics of playing the game are annoying. Holding down the slow-mo button while playing is tiring, and the dash is awkward and feels loose. You'll often dash in the wrong freaking direction, and I couldn't figure that out while I would be like pressing down and I would dash to the right. And let me explain to you why I was having these issues. This is the Switch Pro controller, right? Everybody's seen this. This D-pad right here, while it feels kind of okay, and it's relatively clicky, its fulcrum that it sits on is really bad. So if you press down, you can pivot like this. If I press this way, it presses to the right, down and right. If I press this way, it presses down and left. If I press over here and up, it will press up and right. You can actually pitch the freaking D-pad up and down so the directions are not isolated. So you'd be like white knuckling through a level and you're going real hard and you press right dash and it's like, oh, we pressed right at the bottom right corner of this, so you dash down. Super freaking irritating, especially with a timer going all the time. This game is broken into 100 stages, and each of them have like between 3 and 5 sub-levels. And you have to beat all the sub-levels in one go to save your freaking game. There were times where I was like, I've just got one more level, honey. I'll be up for dinner in just a second. Let me just finish this level to save my game. And I'd spent like 30 minutes trying to beat this one sub-level, and I beat it, and then I have to go to another sub-level. And I have to beat like 2 more sub-levels before I can save my game. So I put my freaking Switch into sleep mode, and my daughter would come by and take my game out and try to play Minecraft. And I'd have to replay all those sub-levels again. That's like 400 to 500 individual levels in this game. And it takes like 12 to 15 freaking hours. That's way too long for a game like this. That's way too long. And that's just the base game. That's not getting all the collectibles, which in this game are apples, or doing the extra freaking content. Now, there are different characters to unlock that can help you out by suiting your play style better. But no matter what you pick, there's one mechanic in Slimeson that sets it apart from any other platformer like it I've ever played. You know how in Mario, there are different heights of the jump you can do? If you just tap the jump button, you'll jump a small amount, but if you hold it down, you'll jump more? That doesn't work that way in Slimeson. If you touch the jump button, you always jump to the exact same height. There's no short jump, there's no long jump, there's no high jump. All jumps are equal. I would work my way through some hard section. I'd finally make it through to just have some simple platform that I needed to jump across, and I would hit the jump button real softly trying to jump across it, and I would hit the spikes on the ceiling. You're like, oh, that's right, you can't low jump, you can only high jump. That's really hard to get over. When you're under pressure all the time and you're constantly being chased by this lava and dealing with all this other crap, those old habits die hard, I'm telling you. I think any person my age that's played platformers their whole life would struggle with this mechanic. Still, I was able to beat the game. I beat the 400 or 500 levels, whatever it was. I even streamed the end of me beating it online on YouTube and finished the last boss, which took a while, but I did it. And I was so happy when I finished the game. It super overstayed its welcome. The difficulty in gameplay is up there with the greats like Super Meat Boy and Celeste, or so I think. But it just isn't that fun. When I beat a stage in Slimeson, it wasn't this like sense of accomplishment that I usually get when I beat a stage in a game. It was more like a, thank God that's over, like feeling. And I don't want to feel that way when I play a game. That being said, Slimeson is not a bad game. It was fun. It was just bloated for what it was, and its mechanics were a little hard to get used to and not that like engaging to me. It was very nitpicky. That's how I want to put it. Slimeson is a nitpicky platformer. It definitely wants you to play through every stage the way it specifically intends you to do it. Take the exact route. Decent game, it's good. It's a 6 out of 10.